Hello everyone, time for another progress report on the Winch Major. Little question for you. How many of you recognised the tractor sound on the intro? You could be surprised, or maybe you won't be now I've said that. Anyway, we've had a not particularly busy week, but we've achieved a lot. Ian's been here today and we've had a good day. And I'd had a couple of good evenings anyway, so without telling you too much, we'll start doing it. I'll keep interrupting. How unusual for me. But yeah, good progress, and I'm pleased with how we're coming on. So let me tell you about it. Okay, so the misfire on the Fordson, had various suggestions. One was a tight valve or a stock valve, which is what I thought it could be, or the injector pump. And I took off the rocker cover and there was definitely 3 valves that were too tight. So I've loosened those off. And the pump itself, I looked at this is all free and moving, but this, I don't know if you can see that there, but the spill there is lower than the rest of them. And that spring is very weak. So I think that's the problem. That's the number 3 injector, which we were concerned about. So I think the problem is in the pump. So what I'm going to do, that's salvageable, there's not a problem with that. But for ease of doing it, I'm going to put the original pump off the Super Major on it in its place. So that's the, whether I'll get round to it today or not, I don't know. But at least we're making progress in that I've found a problem. Not that I like finding problems, but at least you can find a solution. Okay. I also looked at my selection of mudguards, and nearly everything I've got is Power Major. So, or Diesel Major as it was. No Super Major ones. And I was thinking, well, how can I modify it? But really, the price of mudguards, it's not very much. And I've decided to bite the bullet, buy 2 new mudguards for it. So they should be here later today. So hopefully I can start to make a bit of a mark on this tractor. And the foot plates, yes, going to manufacture them. It doesn't look as if they were anything very special to start with. Can you see that? So I can do that certainly on that level, and it should make a good job of it. The seat itself, I asked a question about that. Daniel Dabbs sent me some pictures of a industrial major he got with a spring seat on it, which is what's on the E27Ns, although that was a diesel major. And he also sent me the picture of a Whitlock digger, and now they've got a fabricated seat base to it. So I think that's the way we'll go. We'll go with a fabricated base, mainly because I can't find a spring anyway. So that's the plan so far. I've got the front cowling for it. That's ready to go on. It's got the grills in it, but there's no holes in it. So I've also ordered a pair of Super Major grills to make it look smart that way as well. So that's enough spending on it for now. I don't begrudge it actually, because you know, what's £500 in parts on something like this, and it will tidy it right up. So that's where I was earlier in the week. A couple of good evenings out there, and I actually got it back in the workshop. What was that? Friday night, Thursday night, and hit it again, and again, you know, made a bit of progress. So by the time Ian was ready to come on Saturday, I would have had plenty there lined up, ready to get stuck into. So let's just show you next little bit. Right, this Friday night, haven't done very much to the tractor today because the weather's been appalling. Although it's in a shed, it wasn't the best conditions, and I had other things to do, so I chose that. But I've spent a couple of evenings on it, and as you can see, the tractor's looking a lot more like a tractor. It's not, it's a bit superficial because the front cowling isn't bolted down yet, but I've got everything there. I decided in the end to have a new pair of mudguards, and Agriline were brilliant. They sent them next day. They're super major mudguards, which I hadn't got spares of, and these will fit. I've taken those Firestone tyres and wheels off of the donor tractor and put on here, which has balanced it up. So that's looking a lot tidier. I've got the steering moving, but it's murderously tight still, so my mission this evening is to knock those kingpins out and free them up. I've got Ian here tomorrow, and hopefully we'll give it another toe start. There's no start or anything on it yet, still got that to go. But it's coming on, and it's looking, I feel I've not passed the finishing line by any means, but I can see the finishing line. The biggest thing being that the winch, which I thought was going to be a real challenge, I've got everything moving on it. So all the cogs move, everything moves, apart from, there's one slide on the back which I'm sure it will go, but it really needs a little bit of sledgehammer and bar treatment, and I couldn't hold both. So that's done. I've got the sprag going up and down properly, and I'm sure when there's power running through it. I'm missing a chain on the bottom, which is the drive for the winch, but up to that point it's okay. So I need just a short bit of chain. All the other chains are okay. The framework is not too bad on the winch itself, but where it actually attaches the tractor, I think there's a bit of plating needs doing there. Or not think, it's got to be done. It will work as it is, but I wouldn't want to pull anything heavy. So there it is. It's how far do I go now? You know, I can have this thing running. I can certainly drive it to a rally and take it round a ring, but how pretty do I make it? If I spend much more money on it, it starts to become unviable. At the moment, there's still profit in it. If I sell it, somebody could buy it for a sensible price and they could go the whole hog on it. But I don't want to do that. I haven't got the time, and that's not what I'm about really. I want to get the things moving, leave the summit for somebody else to do afterwards. So it's as you see it. Hopefully tomorrow, if the weather's not too bad, we'll get some smoke coming out of it. Got one or two small things to find for it, but I've got the majority of it now. I've cut templates, or template, for the foot plate. So it's manufactured in cardboard at the moment, but it's a nice height, and it'll fit there, and it's mirror image the other side, so it's easy to do. And I've got some flat plate that I can make it work. It's not going to have any grip on it, but I don't think that'll matter. And I'll actually extend this bit down and come out with it so that there's a step to get up on it. And we'll put that on both sides, so that'll work. I need to do another little shopping list for Agriline, and I'll get that done tomorrow. And it'll be silly things like that handbrake. There's no way of salvaging that, so just stick another one on it and be done with it. The tap, it does work, but it's a plastic one and it's screwed off. So I'll put a new tap in it and just make it so it's a really usable tractor. So yeah, as I say, there's still quite a bit to do, but I can see the finishing line, as I said. So there we are. So by the time you see this, we'll have had a day with Ian, and we'll have more to report. But that's where I am now on Friday night. So Ian's going to be at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we'll hit the odds and ends that we can. We haven't got any brakes yet. That's another major thing. That could want a bit of gas and air, I think. or gas and sledgehammer. Right, that's all for now. So, a lot of progress being made. It did really start to look good, and I genuinely could see that we could get this much better than I was anticipating in the first place. So that was good. So come Saturday morning, this morning, I had a meeting, our first rally meeting of the season. Really, we try and do it in the morning. It's easier to get people there than it is in the evening, and our rally meetings aren't very big. I'm not a committee lover at all. I just like people to do, not say what they're going to do. Sit there and tell everybody else what they need to do. It's get in there and do it. So there was actually 4 of us met, and we just looked through the plans, show what we're going to do this year, alterations to last year. Everybody agreed with it. Very simple. So I was the meeting was at 9 o'clock, and I don't know, by 10:30 I was back again, and we'd had a cup of coffee and a bit of toast, and see how Ian was getting on, ready to launch into it. So this is where I came back, really. No, maybe a little bit after. Perhaps it could have been 11 o'clock before I filmed this, but he'd made a bit of progress again. Right, our resident genius will now demonstrate how the winch works.
Simple as that.
You're going to turn it?
That's 2 gears, isn't it? 2 different gears.
Well, it's forward and reverse, isn't it?
Was it? There we go.
Does it go the same way?
That's that.
That is 2-speed, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, there is no reverse.
Unless you want to edit that, when that linkage is just popped out.
No, I can see it now.
Just need to adjust that one a bit more.
So there we are, winch all working. There's a chain there which we've got in the bucket, that will fit on, but there's a short chain that drives it from the tractor. That doesn't, so real result. I'm really pleased with that. So, a working winch. By the time I filmed that, Ian had actually driven the kingpin out, and he got it back in, and it was all greased up, bearing put back in the bottom and ready to go. So that it was only one that was stuck. It was as you were sat on the tractor, then it was the right-hand kingpin, and God, it was stuck. We had a hell of a job to move it, but once we'd released it, the steering went easy after that, and of course the steering is naturally easier on that because of the weight of the winch on the back. So we found that out afterwards. But our next move now was to see if what I'd done to the engine did the trick. I'd slackened the valves off. I took the cover off, as I said, took the cover off and slackened 3 of the valves, which is, I didn't think I moved them that much, but it was definitely blowing, and that was some of the suggestions I was getting back, and it was the easiest one to do. So I just went through them, slackened them. I didn't have feeler gauge or anything. I just did it by feel, really. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, I won't waste any time. But if it does work, we'll go back to it again and tune it up a bit more. So that was done, and then because there was a new injector pump on, or the old injector pump off the original engine, and I just had good vibes about that. I thought that was a good pump right from the start. So now it was a moment of truth. We've got to give it a start and do it. I can tell you that the first bit of film I did, it didn't work out quite right. I took a picture of the back of the camera case. So this is moment of truth. Was the tractor running or was the tractor not running? There you go. Judge for yourself. Give a few revs here. we get some water here? So there you go, a living, breathing Fordson Supermajor with a Cook's winch on it. That of course was the intro sound that you heard at the beginning of the video, and I'm really delighted with how it's running. It's sounding good. We've got a little bit of black smoke there, but you know that's not going to hurt anything at the moment. Well, I don't care whether you sort it out or not. I've got to feed the trees with something, so it might as well be my black smoke. Yeah, so that's where we got to with that. I got as I say, we got the Agriline bits, which I'll order tomorrow. They won't get shipped until Monday anyway, so I'll order those bits and pieces up so they come back. Now the big question is, because we've made such good progress on that, how much further do we go? And you know, I mean, we'll make that winch work. We'll put the chain on it and have it so as it's operational, put the foot plates on, finish it off, but I'm not going to go any further with it. I'm even considering leaving those wheels on it now because it looks good. The rims are shit, you know, they want sorting out, but if I take the tyres off those rims, I might not be able to get them back on something else, and they're good enough to hold it up off the ground for a minute. You know, something else will come along, but I haven't really got anything on with Firestones on it, and I do like those. That's period tyres for that tractor. So yeah, we'll stay with that for now. The front cowling, I didn't take a picture. I meant to, but the badge on the front of it says where you normally got the wheat sheaf, it says Invicta, and I don't know what that is. I got a feeling it's a road planer, you know, a scraper thing. It's either that or I don't know what it's come off. That cowling is from something a bit rare, and I was going to just bolt a Supermajor badge on top of it, but I think now I'm going to have a think about it and see what the best way to go with. So that's a little mystery. I'm not going to go out and take a photograph of it now, so I'll show it in another one. But next project, we're keen now. So let's have a look and see what's about. See what the next thing in the workshop's going to be. Right, probably got a bit of wind noise here, but can't help it. This is probably going to be the next project. We've got pretty well where we want to be with the winch tractor. So I've got this one, which I'm still swinging between turning it into a 6.4 or just putting a 6-cylinder engine in it and making it work again. Probably value-wise, making a difference. And the straight, just put it in with a horrible front. In fact, the configuration it is now, that might be the cheapest option. Or we've got this one. Now, those that know will know that there's a little bit of a lash up there, but it's a standard Fordson. It's got a Perkins engine in it, and it's never been finished. Unfortunately, it was owned by another old friend of mine who cancer took too early, and I was asked to have the tractor at a price, and we've never really got round to it. Unfortunately, it got pulled out probably a year ago. It was under a sheet. You can see what's happened to the sheet. So I think that's going to be the next one to come in. And it's not. It looks like there's an awful lot to do on that, but we've a bit like the winch tractor. We've got an awful lot of the bits, so that's the one I'm going to attack next, I think. And at least I'll get it on 4 wheels and make it look like a tractor again. So watch this space. So, what would you go for? Another super major, 4-wheel drive, roadless? Who wants one of them? Or a standard Fordson? Standard Fordson's got a Perkins engine in it, and my old friend Ticker Haynes, he worked hard on it. He'd done one. He'd done a really good job on putting a diesel engine in a standard Fordson, and it wasn't quite right. He took it to Royal Cornwall Show, and he had it on a mill, and he said I could hear it going tight, so he said I stopped it, and it had run a big end, or the big end had started to tighten. So he put it right and sorted that out, but he was determined to crack it, and it was, for some reason, it wasn't getting the oil back where it should have done. It was starving it, and I think it was the fact the clutch and everything's oil immersed, so that was the problem. So Ticker was going to do another one, and he drags all that stuff off a scrap, you know. Ticker would never spend any money if he could save it, so he started building up, getting the bits together, and he got everything sort of collected up, and then poor old chap succumbed to the big C. He was an awful smoker, smoked a lot, and unfortunately it got him. So he didn't say anything. You know, I did see him, probably not often enough, but when he passed away, his family asked me if I'd like the tractor to finish it off, and because I bought it, you know, paid money for it, and it was a bit like the Timmy one, you know, I just didn't have time to do it, so I bought it during COVID, and couldn't put the time to it that I wanted to, and it was another one of these that wants a lot of thinking about. So got it back and got it in the workshop and all ready to hit it, and then we needed the space, and it was taken out and put under a sheet, and then I had to move it, and it finished up where it is in that picture. So it was a case of what do we do next, and I've opted for the standard Fordson, as you'll see. I think I owe it to Ticker to get that done. The roadless, we can make that work for the rally if we need to. You know, that tractor has been running. It depends how I do it. Still thinking about it, but I'm going to get this standard Fordson on 4 wheels and working properly. So that's the next project. So let's have a look and see what treasures I've dug out for this one. So there you go. That's the next project that's coming in the workshop. I've got a few things to gather up. I've got to go off to an event tomorrow, so I doubt I'll get very much done, but hopefully I can get a few evenings on it in the week. Ian will probably be back one day, so what I try and do is line up all the bits and pieces, and then Ian's the spanner man. I say all the shit for him to do, but no, he's good. He's a good team player, really, because I can leave him to it and know he's going to get on with it, and you know and we have a bit of fun. We had Colin, my old mate Colin Williams. He came down to see us today, see how we were getting on. He's got the 135 at the moment, and we had one or two issues with that, but he got somebody that he knew would sort it out. So I told him to get on with it, and he's been down today, and the 135 is perfect now. All the electrics are done, lights are working, and no oil leaks anywhere. He's been for a thrash around on it, so there we go. We'll see what happens. And I'm not going to tell you exactly what, but I've had another special offer this week, not to buy anything, but I'll just leave you with that thought, and if I remember, I'll tell you what it's about next week. If I remember, it'll all be over by next week, so we'll see what happens. It's a little bit of an unknown thing. Hopefully I'll get the chance to do a bit of filming. There'll be tractors involved and something different. Right, I hope this is a bit long, I think, but not to worry. You might as well do it on a Sunday. It's going to be raining tomorrow, so you've got nothing else to do. So hope you've enjoyed it, and the Super Major is not finished, but we're a long way. When you think that tractor, the state it was in, I'll say 3 weeks ago, 2 scrap tractors, you know, are you off your head even touching those? And look what we've got now. And I've still got a load of spares to sell. I doubt very much if I'll do anything with that tractor. It's been well picked. I mean, it's a good back end for somebody if they want it, but you know, it can stay in the yard. I'm not going to give it away. It certainly won't go for scrap, so we'll see. Anyway, thank you for watching, and see you next week, hopefully.